Yeah, this show's always been near and dear to my heart. Before we talk about it, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet's a new, smaller, sleeker type of wallet that's designed for you to be able to ditch your old bulky wallet. Pop quiz, which one do you want in your pocket? Right, holds up to 12 cards inside, holds cash on the back. It's small, sleek, discreet, fits right in your front pocket, so when you leave the house, you can be like, keys, phone, wallet. Ridge Wallet comes in over 30 colors, including carbon fiber and titanium. And that durability means lifetime guarantee. In fact, you can buy Ridge Wallet, try it out for 45 days. If you don't like it, return it, full refund. So whether you're looking for a new wallet, and I maintain Father's Day is coming up, good Father's Day gift, bring your dad into the 21st century, have him ditch his old wallet. Just click the link below, go to ridge.com/Johns, enter promo code Johns, save yourself 10% off your Ridge Wallet. And thank you once again to Ridge Wallet for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. All right, now we're going to talk about the show, the return of the show that you know I love, whether you want to call it my guilty pleasure show, devilishly good time show, or just the Tom Ellis show. Point is, Lucifer's back in season 5, part 2, which is a fancy way of saying 6, I feel like. Lucifer's back, and at the end of season 5, part 1, God showed up. God showed up during Lucifer, Michael, and Amenadiel's big throwdown. Angels are fighting. God shows up. The season ended. Now we pick up where Dennis Haysbert is the one who plays God. He's got lessons to give and to get. Dennis Haysbert is perfect as God because I'm pretty sure President David Palmer was in fact God. So the gist of this season, actually, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. I'm going to talk about some spoiler stuff. Not going to be a play-by-play, but you know, going to talk about some spoilerish stuff. Spoiler warning, you've been warned, but the gist of this season is God is retiring, so there has to be a successor. Enter the struggle. It really is like Lucifer and Michael are both like, I should be it. And a thing that stands out in this season is the fact that all the side characters shine. They've always shined. I've always loved the side characters in this show. Every side character has either a large moment and, generally speaking, an episode dedicated to them. It's not a show where it's like, yeah, the title character is all you care about, though he does stand out. Now, Rachel Harris is Linda Martin. She's always been a standout in the show. Amy Garcia as Ella Lopez has always been one of my favorites. I think at this point it's probably in large part to the fact that she's the one who doesn't know that Lucifer is actually the devil. She doesn't know that Lucifer's the devil. She doesn't know Amenadiel's an angel. She doesn't know that God is here. That was one of the things that made Linda Martin stand out for a large section of this show, is she was the one who knew. She was the one who knew we were dealing with celestial beings. She was burdened with that knowledge. Now, other than Linda, Dan knows, Chloe knows, everybody knows, except for Ella Lopez. That and her adorable, sweet-natured optimism. She's one of my favorite characters. Though, with that adorableness, I guess they're in this season, they were like, hey, she also has Dexter Morgan tendencies or something. Whenever she sees a crime scene, she's like, more blood. Which is kind of in conflict with the show's own lore, because she's like, oh, I feel so guilty about these thoughts I have when I see an accident or I see a crime scene. So the show says, hey, she feels this guilt. You can tell she's a good person. Also in the show, if you feel guilt, you go to hell. As seen in the fact that Dan died, and I thought that was, they dicked Dan over. Though when it happened, I was like, okay, it's a show dealing with celestials, so there's always that sense of, oh, they died, but they're in a better place. You know, they live on. Except in Lucifer's lore, in the show's lore, it's your guilt that sends you to hell. Dan had guilt with him, so I guess he didn't go to heaven when he died. I just don't like that lore. I was like, really? I feel like hell would be filled with all sorts of good people that feel guilty, or at the very least, people with anxiety. They're like, I don't know, I just feel guilty because I have anxiety. I guess I'm in hell? And heaven would be filled with a bunch of shitbags who feel no guilt because, you know, shitbags. But when Lucifer went to heaven to get Chloe, there was that guy who was like, hey, I was in hell and I learned my way out of hell and I evolved and I learned my lesson, so they're probably going to do that with Dan now that they've established people can get out of hell. Still, left a bad taste in my mouth. Dan was a good dude. Like, the show didn't always know what to do with Dan other than, well, he's the ex, and that was his character for a bit. I don't know, Dan cracked me up. And that whole episode that was basically one big prank that Lucifer did to him. At first I was like, oh, this is a big episodic romp, okay. But I ended up really liking it by the end of that episode. But in a world where the first half of this season and the second half of this season, or the first half of the second half of this season, so I guess basically the second quarter of the The third fourth and the fourth fourth of the entire season, but the first half and the second half of this half of the season is divided into two themes. The second theme being, okay, well, Lucifer, he's gonna take over as God because better him than Michael, because Michael's a dick. I've always liked the fact that this show plays up the fact that history is written by the victors, but it was the first half of this block of the story. That's what I liked. The whole thing about God and Lucifer, God and his kids, making amends. The whole theme was about parenthood, the inevitable fact that parents fuck up. The whole show of Lucifer is about growth. You know, it's the devil learning to be more than the hedonistic devil that he has been. And that growth is seen from God in a world where the books are always better. If you look at the biblical stories, you got like Old Testament God, he was pissed at everything. Fire and brimstone. Oh, hey, you looked back at the explosions. You looked back at the enormous noise of destruction going on behind you. Such an enormous audible sound of earth-shattering fuckery that you could only be compelled to turn around and be like, what is that? Gotta turn you into a pillar of salt, because, you know, Old Testament style. And the New Testament God's like, you know what? Puppies and rainbows and hugs and kittens. So growth among God is there among the pages. I liked how the show went about it, because the inevitable fact is, parents fuck up. I remember when my parents were my age. Actually, I remember when my parents were younger than I am now. I remember thinking like, well, they have all the answers. They are something else. They're on another level. How is the phrase, mother is the name of God on the lips and hearts of children? I believe that's how Eric Draven in The Crow said it. If I'm misquoting, apologies. Been a long day. But now I'm looking back like, dude, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They had no idea. They were making it up as they went along. So the first half of the season was all about parenting and the mistakes parents have made and the damage that the kids carry with them because of it. And just letting that go, and the parents going, yeah, I'd have done things differently if I could do it over again. Like said every parent ever. And if you look at the ultimate parent kid squabble, that's gotta be God and the devil, right? So it was cool seeing them on screen bury the hatchet. I just thought that it was sweet, it was endearing, it was really smart. I like seeing God being this vulnerable dad apologizing to his kids, being like, I made some mistakes. Also, this season, when God came, had an air of fun to it, you know? Every time God shows up somewhere, everyone just breaks into song and dance musical numbers, which I feel like they got such good reception from that scene when Lucifer is dancing to Kenny Loggins, I'm alright. It's a great scene. And at first I was like, they're overcooking it a little bit. And then I was like, dude, you can't take this show too seriously. Just let it ride. And I sat back and I actually ended up having a good time with it. Not just because of Mazakine's bad to the bone sequence, which is the stuff that dreams are made of, but there was actually a story-based reason for it. It's like God's kind of losing it, and that's why he needs to retire. In the end, I felt like the last episode was rushing to the end, and I was like, oh, that's an abrupt ending, because I had heard this was going to be the last season, and I will say, it felt like that. Everything that was happening, I was like, this is series finale shit happening. It is coming to a head. Come to find out, season 6, like actual season 6, is apparently happening, which shocked me in the fact that it felt like a series finale before I knew that, which this late in the Lucifer game, it should feel that way. So I was glad it did. So season 5, part 2, I really enjoyed. I'm a big softie at this point in my life. You all know that by now. But I love Dennis Haysbert as God. I buy him as this omnipotent, omniscient figure, but also vulnerable dad. And I loved seeing this dad God and his estranged son work it out. You bring those themes, Tom Ellis's charm, illustrating a charismatic lead character that isn't as all evil villainous as we've heard, compelling and interesting support characters, and that's why I love this show. All right, so Lucifer, season 5, part 2. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.